Right, so hello everybody, my name's Dr Sharon George and I work here at Keele University, and my main job is I run the Sustainability Hub and I run the Masters in Environmental Sustainability and Green Technology, and I'm a scientist and part of my job is doing research. So when we research things, we push the boundaries of what we know. We try and understand the world around us a bit better, and I've become quite fascinated with Santa. I've become fascinated with the challenge that Santa has, and we started to wonder at Keele whether some of the answers to some of the questions that you guys ask, like, you know, how does he get around the world in one night? How does he carry all of those presents on the sleigh? And we started to wonder if some of the answers to those questions lie in science. So hopefully, by the end of this talk, you'll have an understanding of some of where we've got to with our understanding. We don't know everything in science, but we're getting there. We're starting to push the boundaries of what we know. So, one thing we haven't told you is that this talk involves a little bit of singing. Hey, are we all up for this? Right, so without further ado, verse 1 of my Santa Science song. So ready? So, on the first day of Christmas, Santa gave to me a massive present under my tree. Right, so first thing we have to do as scientists is understand the problem. What we're really good at Keele is this thing interdisciplinary research. You'll know the climate talks in Paris. We're talking about the planet at the moment. We're talking about how to stop global warming. This is not a problem that's going to be solved in one discipline. This can only be solved when scientists and politicians and people put all the knowledge together and look at the problem from different aspects. And this is what we're really good at Keele. So with the science problem, we're looking at it from all of these perspectives. In the Faculty of Natural Science, we were bringing in knowledge from physics, maths, chemistry, all over the place to try and get a better understanding of what's going on. So first of all, we define the problem. So there are 2.2 billion children in the world. That's a lot of children that Santa has to go and see. However, and I don't really understand this, but not everyone believes in Santa. That's quite sad. And not all children are good. Are we all good? Yes. Not all children live on their own or scattered around the planet. Some have got brothers and sisters, some live together in big high-rise flats, or they're in hospital all together, so you kind of get a bit of a clustering effect in cities. So that makes Santa's job a little bit easier. So by our calculations, we reckon that there are, you know, we've got 2.2 billion children over there. About a third, divided by 3, about a third of them are good. Divide that whole lot by 2 if we assume that we've got around about 2 in each household. We reckon Santa does somewhere around about 366 million stops. That's a lot of stops for Santa. However, Santa does have 2 goes at this. The Orthodox Christmas Day is 7th of January. We celebrate it on 25th of December, but the Orthodox Christmas Day is on 7th of January. So he does have 2 goes at this. So he does get a little bit more time. So, next verse. On the second day of Christmas, Santa gave to me 2 billion children and a massive present under my tree. Now, populations are getting bigger, and if you've noticed, as populations are getting bigger, presents are getting smaller. That's quite fortunate for Santa, because he has to carry more and more every year as populations get bigger. So we reckon if each of these households gets a games console, average one is about 0.01 of a metre cubed, times all of those stops, we're up to 3.5 million cubic metres in terms of volume. Just to put that into perspective, that's the same, in case you work in elephant equivalents, as around about 332,727 elephants. Imagine herding that lot into the back of your sleigh. Okay, If you can't picture that many elephants, let me put it another way. It's the same as just under the volume of Wembley Stadium. That's one massive sleigh. So this is the problem. So we've defined the problem. We know how many children, how big the sleigh is. So let's move on. On the third day of Christmas, Santa gave to me 3 Newton's laws, 2 billion children, and a massive present under my tree. Okay, we're governed by the laws of physics, and we're governed by the constraints of the problem. Do you know somebody took a mathematical approach to working out, there's something called the salesman model, the salesman problem, where you look at the minimum distance taken to go to all these addresses all around the world in populated cities. And we worked out that the minimum distance of the tour length was 7.5 million kilometres. Okay, that's quite a distance. Again, just in case that you've got no context there, so let me put that into context. The circumference of the Earth is only 40,000 kilometres. So this is like going round the world 188 times, or, to put it another way, going to the moon and back again 10 times. Ooh, does that in one night. Actually, we've worked out he has slightly more time than that. What time do you all go to bed at Christmas Eve? 8. Not 6, 6. 6 being the correct time to go to bed on Christmas Eve. And when that first child goes to sleep, Santa sets out. So he has, from that time, if he goes against the timeline and all the way around the planet, if he can get around, he has more than the 24 hours. And we work out, actually, going from 6, and he's got till the morning, so he has extra time. Actually, he has the equivalent of about 48 hours to do this. So we know the time it takes him, we know how far he has to go, so we can start working out the speed. Now we reckon for one of his runs he has to go at some speed, so we're thinking about 156,500 kilometres an hour. The speed of sound is only about 1,000 kilometres, just over 1,000 kilometres an hour. So this means if once you break the sound barrier, you create a wave that creates a sonic boom. Who's heard a sonic boom on Christmas Eve? You've heard a sonic boom on Christmas Eve? There might be another reason for things that go bump in the night on Christmas Eve. Might be the reindeer. We don't know. But we would hear sonic booms all over the planet. So we're not sure about this one. Just to put this again into context, a rocket re-entering the atmosphere travels at 30,000 kilometres, so he's going faster than re-entry. So this creates some problems for Santa. So this creates problems in terms of materials, in terms of the physical dynamics of what's happening. So we're going to start going into that now. You ready? On the 4th day of Christmas, Santa gave to me 4 states of matter, 3 Newton's laws, 2 billion children, and a massive present under my tree. Right, 4 states of matter. Just to put this into, again, to put everything into context, we've got gas, liquid, solid, yeah? Everything's made up of atoms, and as we heat up a material, the atoms start to vibrate. When you hit a certain temperature, we call a melting point, things can turn into, from a gas into a leaky gun, into a liquid, okay? If it gains enough energy, yeah, it can turn into, the atoms can break free completely and we get a gas. And the atoms are free to move away from the liquid. Just to show this, I could do with a volunteer from my audience, please. Do you want to come forward? Right. We need some protective gear. So just get you there. We haven't lost a student yet. You'll be fine. Let's just put that on. Are you scared?
No.
So do you want to just stand there for me? Just stand there. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. You okay?
Yeah.
Right. Brace yourself. Right. So what I'm going to show you now. So the air molecules in my container, in my cannon. It's not really a cannon. It's fine. You'll be fine. So what I'm going to do is hit my membrane, and this is going to compress the air molecules in here, and they're going to be funneled. They're going to come out here. Hopefully, they're going to push the air molecules, push and push and push until you feel them. Are you ready? So you big belly, point it at the cannon. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you scared? No. 1, 2, 3. Yay! Did you feel it?
Yeah.
Big round of applause. Okay, right, so just in case you're in any doubt, and just fire it into the audience. You ready? Do you want to feel my air cannon? Woo, can you feel it? Yay! Feel it? Feel it? And that way. You might feel it. Bow down a bit. Yes. There you go, and that way. Yes, of course, I saw your t-shirt move. Right then, so we've got these, you know, this. So what I want to show you now is the reason for showing you that is because you need to understand that the way temperature works. Like when something changes phase, it's gaining energy until it can turn into a gas. Now, when this is a kind of challenge in materials design. So this sleigh has to withstand some serious temperature changes and some serious challenges in terms of pressure and what it sees in its environment. So what I've got here is some liquid nitrogen. It's a very, very cold liquid. And what I've got here are some tubes. They're special tubes called Riker tubes. At the bottom, there's a piece of gauze at the bottom. And so what I'm going to do is pour my very cold liquid nitrogen. Has anyone seen liquid nitrogen before? Right, so you ready? So when I pour it down, what it'll do is it'll linger at the bottom and it'll create a temperature gradient. What will happen to the tube, anyone? Right, listen. Can you all hear that? That's exactly what happens to your pipes at home. When you have we call it combustion instability. You can set up an oscillation in the tube, which is, you know, you can get the vibrations. This is a serious problem in things like jet engines and things. This is an engineering problem that we study at Keele. What will happen with the bigger tube, higher or lower? You'll notice I'm not wearing gloves. That's on purpose. Lower. Spot on. I don't want to be wearing gloves and get my gloves wet with this stuff and it be next to my skin. I don't wear gloves. It's the one thing that chemists, it's the one time you don't wear gloves, but you still have to be very, very, very careful around this stuff. This stuff can burn you very seriously. And just to again put us into context, Christmas. You can't have Christmas without sprouts, can you now? Who likes sprouts?
Yes.
Who hates sprouts? You're sproutist. Right, so what are we going to do with the sprouts? Shall we freeze them in liquid nitrogen and see what happens? So what I'm going to do now is plunge now to this To this liquid nitrogen, this is like a boiling hot piece of lava. The temperature difference is so massive. So I'm going to plunge my Brussels sprout. This stuff's going mad now, it's boiling. And then when I pull it out, so what will happen to the Brussels sprout? Will it go hard or soft? Hard. What will happen when I drop it on the table? Bounce. What will happen when I drop it on the table? Right, just so you can see. I shattered my sprout. All those people who hate sprouts, give it a cheer. All of those people who love sprouts, give it a aww. Right. So just to show you this a bit more clear, who loves cabbage? Yay! Who hates cabbage? Hey! Right, so this, I'm just going to dump it in. Now what's happening now is just the same there as I showed you with the gas molecules. The liquid nitrogen is trying to break free, so it's ripping the energy out of my cabbage. And watch. Shattered. Just because it's Christmas. Mince pie. It's not alive. No actual mince pies were harmed during the production of this talk. Will it break? Now what happens? The more water that something holds, the more it will freeze. So actually what I've got there is a rock hard, frozen, solid mince pie. You want to? You can hold it. Yeah? You want to pass it round? Right, so, and just to say, I mean, those things contain water. This doesn't mean to say it's something that doesn't contain water isn't going to be affected. Because as a liquid nitrogen, it's ripping the energy out of the materials. And you get different, so the way that plastics are affected. So I'm going to show you this. This might work, it might not. What will happen to my ball? That's a normal ball. I'm a little bit scared of this, by the way. I don't know what will happen, actually. Might work, might not. Ready? So, broke. Swap you. Right, so material that was previously soft and pliable can become very, very brittle. This has implications for Santa's sleigh. Yeah. So you see there, my tube? See what's happening is the liquid nitrogen's boiling, it's trying to get away from itself and expand, it's making its way up the tube there. Now look what happens to the end of it. You don't want that to happen to your grommets and washers and little rubber seals and things on your spacecraft. You don't want that to happen to Santa's sleigh. So materials in the sleigh are really, really important. Right, so we're moving on. So we come to the 5th day. Now, this is the 5 gold rings bit, so yay! Right, so on the 5th day of Christmas, Santa gave to me relativity. 4 states of matter, 3 Newton's laws, 2 billion children, and a massive present under my tree. Right, so relativity. Einstein, really, really famous scientist, and he helped us understand the nature of time and space and the way that time is affected and the way that the laws of physics will fit together. So the things that this throws up that are relevant to the problem of Santa is this thing, time dilation. Now, fast-moving objects experience time slower. Somebody in the previous talk asked why Santa doesn't get old. Why does he live so long? Well, this could go some way to explaining that. Also, strong gravity affects the way time runs. So it could be that some of the answer behind how Santa sort of meets some of these challenges, is in the realms of physics and the realms of the laws of physics and the way that these laws fit together. So we're going to explore that a bit further. So just moving on to 6th day. So on the 6th day of Christmas, Santa gave to me 6 sonic booms, relativity, 4 states of matter, 3 Newton's laws, 2 billion children, and a massive present under my tree. Okay, so one of the other theories that we've become quite interested in is this quantum tunneling. So this is where, you know, an object can be either side of an energy barrier. You know, and we wonder, one of the questions that I get asked is how does Santa get in my house if I haven't got a fireplace or a chimney? How does he get through a brick wall? So in quantum tunneling, go on. A key, could be a magic key, could be quantum tunneling. This might be how he navigates energy barriers such as Everest and doesn't have to go round. He could just find himself the other side of an energy barrier. So we're starting to get into the realms of quantum physics here, but also, you know, sort of going back to the sonic booms. You know, we would, if Santa travelled that fast, all of that distance, we would hear all over the planet the crack of the sonic booms as that wave went all over the planet. And we don't hear that. That would wake us all up. So it's starting to look on the balance of probability that this may not be the whole answer. He may be using answers that lie in quantum physics. This is this is so cool. The Boeing X-51 Wave Rider. You see note the shape of it. It's not got wings. This is a vehicle that's designed to go supersonic. And the way it works, it uses the sonic boom to propel itself faster. So it's designed to use the shape of that wave to help it move, to propel it. We wonder whether the same thing is going on with the sleigh, with the design of the sleigh. It's not got wings, it's nice and blunt, just the same as objects are designed to come with re-entry into the atmosphere. We think possibly the materials, he might be using some special alloys. We're currently researching things like nickel titanium alloys in energy to get up to superheated temperatures in power stations and things. So we're thinking, actually, you know, this might be how he's doing this, because you've got to think about the weight, the design, the temp, how it's going to survive those temperatures. It can't have wings. The wings would just burn and blow off. They'd slow him down anyway. So is he using this blunt shape to maximise the booms and the lift? Possibly. Very, very possibly. Right, we're on to day 7. On the 7th day of Christmas, Santa gave to me 7 million Santa, 6 sonic booms, relativity, 4 states of matter, 3 Newton's laws, 2 billion children, and a massive present under my tree. Okay, say what you see. What is that? What is that? It's a cat in a box. This is Schrodinger's cat in a box, technically. So this is a theory that Schrodinger came up with, right? So he said, well, if you had a box and you put a cat in it, there's no actual cats were harmed in this talk, I have to say, and you put some poison in that box and lock the box, as long as you don't see that cat, is it alive or is it dead? And, well, as long as you don't look, he said, well, possibly both are true. And this is how we think about probabilities, about where a particle might be. So we think about, we can think about the probabilities and kind of how we look at orbitals and things. Actually, as long as we don't observe the point of where that thing actually is, all of those possibilities are technically true, as long as you don't observe them. If you observe them, waveform collapses, and all the other possibilities disappear. So this, think about Santa. If Santa was possibly everywhere, but you wake up and you see him, the waveform collapses. Your Santa's real, but everybody else's disappears. That's why it's so important to go to sleep and not see Santa on that night, so that he can do his job. That's cool, isn't it? Right. See what I did here? This is my favourite one. On the 8th day of Christmas, Santa gave to me 8 all the pies, 7 million Santas, 6 on it boom. Relativity. 4 states of matter, 3 Newton's laws, 2 billion children, and a massive present under my tree. Right, who leaves milk and mince pies out for Santa? Do you know what? And a carrot from the reindeer. We left a banana out last year for Rudolph because we didn't have any carrots left. But he still went. Right, so we reckon, by our estimations, if everybody leaves a glass of milk and a mince pie out for Santa, times by how many houses there are, Santa, over Christmas, consumes 161 billion calories. That is the entire calorific, the calorific recommended intake for all of us in England for an entire day. One guy. It's a lot of pies. In banana equivalents, quite like working in equivalents, you might have noticed. In banana equivalents, that's 1.8 billion bananas. So it might be that we might need to start thinking about perhaps leaving a healthier alternative, maybe skimmed milk. Right, so moving on now to the reindeers. We're moving on to biology. Right, so ready? On the 9th day of Christmas, Santa gave to me 9 Svalbard reindeers, 8 all the pies, 7 million Santas, 6 on it boomed. Relativity. 4 states of matter, 3 Newton's laws, 2 billion children, and a massive present under my tree. The reindeers. The reindeers. There's this amazing poem, this very, very famous poem, all about the reindeers. Who knows the reindeers' names? Prancer? Dancer? Rudolph. Rudolph isn't on this poem. Vixen. Comet. Cupid, Donner and Blitzen. Right, so what got me thinking about this poem was this weird line in the middle, but a miniature sleigh with 8 tiny reindeer. Whoa, hold the phone, tiny reindeer. Reindeers are like horses, aren't they? They're massive things. So I got thinking about this, about how big a reindeer is. By the way, Rudolph came a bit later. Rudolph didn't appear till 1949 with this famous song. But reindeers are quite cool. They're adapted for life in a really harsh environment. Their hooves towards the winter harden up so that they kind of act as snowshoes. They have special vision so they can see ultraviolet light. They can spot the food under the snow and they can go and survive in really harsh environments. They can travel really fast and go 60 to 80 kilometres an hour. They're actually built so they can withstand the cold weather. They maximise the surface area. So this is called Allen's rule, where animals can kind of be as efficient as they can be. So they keep the heat. But small is good. Do you know why? What would happen if 9 reindeer, let's count those 8 and Rudolph, because Rudolph joined the gang, population grown, so Santa needs more reindeer. What would happen if 9 massive reindeer landed on your roof? roofs are built for load. Roofs are built to withstand weight, because what lands on your roof in winter? Rain and snow. So roof tiles are built to withstand around about 122 kilograms. Now, reindeers, a large sized reindeer would exceed that weight on your roof. And I can tell you now, ladies and gentlemen, you're probably not insured if reindeers come crashing through your roof. You'd have a nightmare. So to get around this, actually there is a breed of reindeer called the Svalbard reindeer. It's kind of slower, fits with the poem, 9 tiny reindeer. It's slower, it is within the limits of the roof. So we're thinking Svalbard reindeer. That's the way to go. Just incidentally as well, let's come back to Rudolph. See the song? It says, all of the other reindeers used to laugh and call him names. We're assuming he is a he. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, something about reindeers. They get busy between September and November. They have a lot of girlfriends. Ooh, 15 to 20 girlfriends. They spend that's busy. They've got a lot of flowers to buy. They've got a lot of rings to buy and things, you know. They get, like, you know, a lot of dates to go on. They're so busy, they don't eat. They can lose a third of their body weight trying to keep their girlfriends happy. They get so tired that at the end of November, their antlers fall off. So, if you see a reindeer like Rudolph with the antlers in December, he's either not that interested in ladies, or he's a lady. Just putting it out there. 10th day of Christmas, ready. On the 10th day of Christmas, Santa gave to me 10 space and time theories, 9 Svalbard reindeer, 8 all the pies, 7 million Santas, 6 sonic booms, relativity, 4 states of matter, 3 Newton's laws, 2 billion children, and a massive present under my tree. So we think that the answer lies mostly in physics. We're thinking this is our thinking, to get over this massive challenge of getting around all of these, to all the boys and girls in all the world. We're thinking it's looking more probable that the answer lies in quantum physics and in the world of physics, so that it can overcome the problems of heat, pressure and friction, time, and how many presents. Now, there are a lot of theories around dimensions and around, you know, you've heard about something called string theory. It could be that that Santa has managed to find a way of zipping between dimensions, and this is how he gets over the volume problem of all those presents. You know, it could have, there could be, he might have worked that out. That's something we're still working on at Keele. And hopefully by next year we'll have some more solid answers about how he uses things like string theory to get all those presents into such a small sleigh. Because that poem did say, small sleigh, tiny sleigh. But we are thinking this would be the perfect solution. You've seen lots of Santas around. You've seen more than one Santa in the shopping centres and around. This would explain it. This would explain it. That there's more than one existing at the same time. Right, so on the 11th day. On the 11th day of Christmas, Santa gave to me 11 experiments, 2 time theories, 9 Svalbard reindeer, 8 all the pies, 7 million Santas, 6 sonic booms, relativity, 4 states of matter, 3 Newton's laws, 2 billion children, and a massive present under my tree. Oh, we're nearly at the end. Quantum physics is weird. It is weird. We think that this is where the answer lies. We think this is where we're going to get some of the answers to those questions, but the answer doesn't just lie in physics. Going right back to the beginning of my talk, the answer is going to come when all of the scientists in an interdisciplinary way put their heads together and solve problems, just in the same way that we need to solve problems like climate change, and way we need to solve problems like how do we produce energy, how do we supply energy for the world with limited resources, how do we, all of these problems require scientists to all work together to come up with the answers. Now with the whole Santa thing, this is a field that's making us think about the world and about the world of physics. And if one thing that we've done today is got you thinking about science and got you, more importantly, thinking that actually science can be quite fun, then I've done my job today. Because I can tell you now, science is wicked. It's the best job I've ever had. And part of the reason for that is that I don't have all the answers. And when we do research, when you discover something and you can put that into context and it solves a problem, that's the best thing in the world. And what I really hope today is that you've got a little bit of a picture of that. And I hope if anybody has any questions about Santa or about science, just come and ask us, because we're dying to speak to you, and we want you to kind of to get that joy of science that we feel. So if we can put 12, we've had 12 moon landings, we've sent 12 craft to the moon. If we can do that, and we're about to, we're sending missions to Mars, we're talking about a manned mission to Mars. That's amazing. And that takes lots of different scientists who understand material, scientists who understand the effects on the body, scientists who understand the effect on the mind. That all of these things all come together. So hopefully you've all enjoyed today, enjoyed the talk. I'm going to ask you all to sing our last verse, a rousing chorus of my Science of Santa song. On the 12th day of Christmas, Santa gave to me 12 moon landings, 11 dimensions, 10 space and time theories, 9 Svalbard reindeer, 8 all the pies, 7 million Santas, 6 sonic beams, relativity, 4 states of matter, 3 Newton's laws, 2 billion children, and a massive present under my tree. Would anybody like a sprout?